The shuttle's ramp hissed open with a flash of white light. Ryan Hale stepped onto the platform of the Galactic Academy of Integrated Combat, a steel cathedral orbiting between twin suns. Beneath him, the polished obsidian tiles reflected twin flares of light, one red, one gold, washing across a sea of alien students. Dozens of species filled the colossal training hall. Reptilian Varnathi, crystalline Thraxans, multi-eyed Zethri, even floating spheres of living plasma called ions. Every one of them turned to look at the human stepping onto their pristine deck. Whispers followed. "That's it? That's a human. Fragile bones. No neural links. What's he doing here?" Earth species, archaic primates. They still use muscle memory. Ryan ignored them. His boots clicked softly as he crossed the black floor. He wasn't here to prove anything. He was here to learn. But that didn't mean he'd take disrespect forever. He stopped before the towering instructor, Varn Kor, a six-limbed reptilian covered in scarred green scales and ceremonial red armor. His eyes glowed amber as he scanned the roster on his wrist display. Ryan Hale. Species, human. Classification. Baseline, no augmentations, no neural enhancement, no cybernetics. Laughter rippled through the hall. "You must be lost, human. The agricultural training wing is 2 decks below." Ryan bowed slightly. "Combat class, instructor." "Sir." Varn Kor's forked tongue flicked in amusement. "Sir," he mimicked, tilting his head. "Humans still use vocal honorifics? Adorable." He turned to the class, spreading his forearms dramatically. "Observe, cadets. The primitive Homo sapiens, flesh-born, unlinked, outdated by 8 centuries of evolution, has come to master galactic combat arts. Perhaps he believes his kung fu movies have prepared him." The class erupted in laughter. Ryan said nothing. The warm-up drills began. Ryan took his spot at the edge of the line, mirroring the alien cadets as they performed precision strikes and balance forms. Each alien moved with machine-like speed, their limbs guided by embedded reflex processors. Their motions blurred, almost too fast to track. Ryan moved slower, but smoother. His movements were deliberate, grounded, perfectly centered. He breathed evenly. His body remembered every motion from thousands of hours of training in a small Earth dojo back home. Step, pivot, strike. Breathe. Feel the flow. Around him, aliens smirked as they noticed his pace. "He's lagging 2 seconds behind." "Instructor, his neural lag is huge. He'd be dead before finishing a sequence." "Does he even have combat software?" Varn Kor didn't bother to hide his grin. "You see, cadets, this is what happens when a species relies on muscle instead of machine." He approached Ryan, towering over him. "Tell me, human, how do you expect to defend yourself against a species that moves 10 times faster than you?" Ryan met his gaze calmly. "By not needing to." A hush fell. Varn Kor blinked, thrown by the simplicity of it. Then he laughed, a deep, echoing hiss that rattled the arena's pillars. "By not needing to," he repeated mockingly. "You're quite the philosopher. Let's see if you can philosophize after a week of bruises." The next few days blurred into a cycle of exhaustion and ridicule. Ryan trained relentlessly, ignoring the stares. His hands blistered against alien training poles. His reflexes, human, organic, imperfect, were constantly compared to alien precision. But Ryan noticed things. He watched how the Varnathi relied on pre-coded attack sequences, how the Thraxans overcommit when their crystalline limbs struck too fast, how every species trusted their implants more than their instincts. They all move fast, Ryan thought, but none of them actually feel the fight. At night, while the others connected to their recharge pods, Ryan stayed awake, practicing quietly in the low-gravity observation deck. His movements cast soft shadows under the twin suns. He drilled every motion until it became a whisper in the air. Step, pivot, strike, again, until the silence itself seemed to breathe with him. By the end of the week, word spread. The human still hadn't quit. On the 7th day, during the midday session, Varncore called for silence. His tail coiled with amusement as he looked at the class. Cadets, it seems our human has survived the first cycle. Let us reward his persistence. He gestured toward the center of the arena. Today we hold open demonstration sparring. Volunteers only. Hail, let's see if your species' instinct can match even the weakest among us. Laughter erupted again. A massive alien stepped forward, an Othrak brute, skin plated with metallic scales. Its 4 arms flexed, producing a sound like grinding steel. Instructor, permission to demonstrate? Granted, Varncore hissed, eyes gleaming. Don't break him too quickly. Ryan stepped into the ring, calm as ever. You may use your augments, he said quietly. You sure, human? You won't even see me move. I'll see enough. The class murmured in anticipation. Even Varncore leaned forward, curious now. The human stood barehanded, relaxed, his stance almost lazy. The Othrak crouched, claws clicking against the floor. Varncore raised a clawed hand. Begin. He paused, smirking. No, not yet. I want the others to enjoy this. Tomorrow, human, we'll hold your demonstration duel. Make sure your medics are ready. As the class dispersed, the Othrak sneered down at Ryan. You should stay in bed tomorrow, soft skin. The last human who challenged me needed a new spine. Ryan looked up, steady. 13 seconds. The Othrak frowned. What? 13 seconds, Ryan repeated. That's how long you'll last. The arena fell silent. Even Varncore turned, his laughter cut short by the sheer confidence in the boy's voice. Ryan didn't raise his tone. He didn't smirk. He simply walked off the platform and out the training bay doors. As they shut behind him, the alien students murmured in disbelief. 13 seconds? He's insane. He doesn't even have implants. Varncore watched the human's retreating form and, for the first time, felt a faint flicker of curiosity beneath his amusement. Let him talk, he hissed softly. Tomorrow, we'll see what human confidence is worth. The training arena was silent. Not the usual hum of shifting gravity fields or the buzz of energy blades clashing, just silence. Every cadet in the Galactic Academy had shown up for this one. Word had spread overnight. The human challenged Othrak Gorak to a duel. He said 13 seconds. Now the amphitheater-like dojo was packed with hundreds of alien students, their eyes and lenses glowing in the low light. The platform at the center floated above a pit of shimmering energy anti-grav stabilizers set to 0G balance. At the far end, Instructor Varncore stood with his arms folded, scales gleaming like polished armor. His amusement hadn't faded since yesterday. Step forward, cadets, he said, voice booming across the arena. Today, the galaxy learns humility, or humanity does. Ryan Hale stepped into the light. No armor. No neural interface. Just a plain black training GI with the Earth insignia, a simple blue circle on the chest. His hands were bare. His breathing slow. Calm. Across from him, Othrak Gorak towered like a mountain of muscle and metal. 4 arms thick as support beams, plated in bronze exoskeletal scales. His eyes glowed orange as his combat augments came online. Reflex speed, 0.03 seconds, said the arena AI. Reaction multiplier, 6 times baseline. Ryan tilted his head. 6 times faster than me. He rolled his shoulders once, letting the tension slide away. Varncore raised one clawed hand. Rules are simple. No lethal strikes. First incapacitation or surrender ends the match. Begin. The Othrak moved first. To the crowd, he was a blur, an avalanche of limbs and noise. His feet slammed into the tiles, claws slicing through the air toward the human's head. The sound cracked like thunder. But Ryan wasn't there. He had moved, barely, efficiently, his body slipping just out of range. The alien's claws whistled past his nose, close enough to ruffle his hair. Ryan's stance remained steady, weight balanced, eyes calm. He could feel it, the rhythm of the Othrak's overclocked movement. Too fast for its own balance, too confident. The alien came again, faster. A downward strike aimed to crush. Ryan's left foot pivoted a few degrees. His right arm redirected the blow just enough to twist the alien's elbow angle off-axis. Momentum did the rest. Crack. The Othrak roared, stumbling back, one arm hanging useless. The crowd gasped, half in disbelief, half in awe. Ryan exhaled once. 3 seconds. Varnkor's expression changed. A flicker, barely visible, but real. He leaned forward. The crowd erupted with noise, some cheering, some hissing disbelief. The Othrak snarled, his remaining arms glowing with kinetic light. "You're dead, human." He lunged again, 2 left jabs, an uppercut, a spin strike. Ryan weaved through each motion like he'd seen them 1,000 times before. No enhancements, no software. Just raw instinct and perfect biomechanic. He stepped inside the Othrak's reach. A twist of the hip. A short elbow strike. Another crack. The second arm folded backward. The Othrak howled, staggering. Ryan's voice was quiet, almost conversational. 7 seconds. The instructor's tail lashed the air, a silent whip of agitation. This shouldn't have been possible. Human reflexes were measured in tenths of a second, sluggish compared to most galactic species. Yet the boy's timing was perfect, like he'd already seen each strike before it came. He's not reacting, Varnkor realized. He's predicting. Gorik bellowed, slamming his foot to the floor hard enough to crack obsidian. He leapt forward, a blur of spinning limbs, claws, and fury. The air shimmered from kinetic discharge. Ryan ducked under the swing, letting the momentum carry the alien past him, then planted one palm on the Othrak's armored back and guided his own body into a low pivot. Balance. Flow. Redirect. The Othrak's own weight carried him forward. His head slammed into the arena wall with a boom that echoed like thunder. Energy fields flickered. The alien collapsed. Unconscious. Ryan straightened, adjusting his GI. He looked up at the timer hovering over the arena. 13.21 seconds. He turned toward the instructor. "Black belt certified," he said quietly, and walked away. The silence that followed wasn't disbelief, it was shock. Hundreds of alien cadets stared at the human's retreating form. Some looked furious, some confused, but a few, just a few, looked curious. Varnkor didn't move. His claws flexed slowly against his sides. His inner eyelids blinked twice. He replayed the last 13 seconds in his mind, seeing it frame by frame. The perfect timing, the economy of motion, the discipline. When Ryan reached the arena's exit, the instructor's voice broke the silence. "Cadet Hale." Ryan stopped but didn't turn around. "Yes, instructor? You said 13 seconds. "Yes, sir." "How did you know?" Ryan's reply was calm, matter-of-fact. "Because he made 7 mistakes before the match even started." A low murmur spread through the stands. Varnkor's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Ryan finally turned to face him, expression steady. He activated his augments before he centered his stance. His weight was uneven on the back foot. His core twisted out of rhythm with his breathing. Augments amplify what's there, but if what's there isn't right, they just make the mistakes faster. He looked around at the crowd of stunned alien students. "You all move faster than me. But you don't feel the motion. You've let machines think for you." He bowed slightly. "Humans learned a long time ago, speed doesn't matter if you're already where the strike's going to land." Then he turned and walked out, leaving silence behind him. Varnkor stood motionless for a long moment. His expression unreadable. Then, softly, he said, "Class dismissed." As the cadets dispersed, whispers filled the corridors. 13 seconds. Without augments. Is that even possible? And somewhere in the data stream of the Academy's network, the dual footage began spreading, frame by frame, analyzed, replayed, and discussed across every galactic forum. By nightfall, the title was trending across 10 systems. Human earns black belt in 13 seconds. The footage hit the network before the sweat on the arena floor had dried. In the data halls of the Galactic Academy, servers buzzed as hundreds of species watched, rewound, and slowed the same 13 seconds of impossible combat. Every frame, every motion, every human breath, and everywhere the same question echoed. How did he do it? In the main instructor's observation chamber, Varncore stood alone before a floating holodisplay. The recording played in ultra-slow motion, frame-by-frame analysis, energy traces highlighted, muscle tension tracked. On the screen, Ryan Hale moved like no simulation the instructor had ever seen. No visible augment activation, no pre-calculated pattern. His body flowed around the Othrax blows with uncanny precision, like water choosing its path in real time. Varncore's claw tapped the table. "He's not faster," he muttered. "He's sooner." He froze the video. The moment before impact, Ryan's left hand an inch from the Othrax arm. Data overlays scrolled by. Speed, trajectory, kinetic force. Every alien system calculated that Ryan should have been hit. Every equation said he should have failed. But he didn't. The door hissed open. Instructor Thyra, a crystalline Thraxan warrior, stepped in. Her glass-like body reflected the blue light of the hollow. "Still watching the human?" she asked, voice echoing like chimes. "It defies combat mathematics," Varncore replied. No augment. No predictive software. Yet his body moved before the sensors registered the attack. Thyra tilted her head. Reflex anticipation, perhaps? Primitive intuition. Varncore turned toward her, eyes narrowing. Intuition doesn't break a four-armed Othrax guard in 13 seconds. He gestured at the screen, enlarging the motion analysis. "Look here. Every shift he makes uses the opponent's momentum. He doesn't counterstrike. He redirect. As though he's fighting gravity itself, not a person." Thyra studied the projection silently. "That's elegant." Varncore didn't answer. His eyes gleamed. Something inside him, a flicker of respect, maybe, stirred. "It's discipline," he finally said. "Pure, practiced motion. No crutches. No implants. Just years of pain burned into muscle memory." Meanwhile, in the dormitory sector, Ryan sat cross-legged on the floor of his tiny quarters. No lights. Just the hum of the station around him and the faint glow of Threx Prime's twin suns through the viewport. His hands were wrapped in rough cloth, knuckles bruised but steady. He breathed in silence, replaying the fight in his head, not the strikes, but the moments between. Every opponent moves differently, but every species breathes the same. That's the rhythm. The pulse underneath the movement. He opened his eyes as the door buzzed. "Come in," he said. The door slid open to reveal Kira, a young Zethari cadet, tall, thin, insectoid, her faceted eyes glowing violet. She shifted uneasily in the doorway. You embarrassed an Othrak in front of the entire academy," she said, voice metallic but soft. "He embarrassed himself," Ryan replied calmly. "I just let him." Kira hesitated, her antennae twitching. "How did you do it?" "I slowed the footage down. You moved before he did. That's impossible for baseline reflex speed." Ryan looked at her, a faint smile touching his lips. "Everyone here fights with their eyes. I fight with my body." She frowned, confused. He stood and gestured for her to throw a punch. "Come on. Slow. Doesn't matter where." She hesitated, then swung. Ryan didn't block. He stepped just outside her range. "Now again," he said. She did. Again he wasn't there. He didn't react, he simply wasn't in the way. "You wait for movement," Ryan explained quietly. "Humans don't. We read tension. Weight shift. The smallest breath before a strike. You predict." "No," he said. "I listen." He stepped back, folding his arms. Machines can't hear what silence says. Kira's eyes widened as she realized he meant it literally. He fought by feeling, not calculation. We replaced instinct, she murmured. You refined it. Ryan shrugged. Guess we never had the option not to. Back in the observation chamber, Varncore summoned a data request. The screen filled with human combat records. Wars, duels, urban conflicts, centuries of data. He saw patterns. Unpredictability, adaptation, an ability to win fights that logic said they should lose. Humans, he whispered. You don't dominate because you're fast. You dominate because you learn faster. His claws tapped the console. And you never stop learning. A thought took root. Dangerous. Intriguing. He opened an Academy directive file and began composing a message. Hours later, the Academy's training chime rang across the deck. Students flooded into the combat hall, murmuring with excitement. Ryan arrived last, expression unreadable. Varncore stood at the center, posture formal. Cadet Hale, he said loudly. Step forward. The crowd hushed. Your performance yesterday has been reviewed by the Academy Council. By order of the Galactic Combat Board, you are hereby awarded Provisional Master Certification, the equivalent of your human black belt. Gasps echoed through the crowd. A human, certified by the most prestigious combat school in the galaxy. Ryan bowed slightly. Thank you, instructor. Varncore studied him for a moment, then said, Your victory has drawn attention. Some wish to challenge you again, to prove it wasn't luck. Ryan's expression didn't change. Then I'll teach them the same lesson. A faint ripple of amusement passed through the class, but Varncore wasn't laughing. Be careful what you offer, human. Pride can break even the strongest spine. Ryan met his gaze evenly. It's not pride, sir. It's experience. Later that evening, as the suns dipped below the curvature of Threx Prime, Varncore stood alone on the observation deck, watching the stars shimmer. He spoke softly to himself. 13 seconds. A child of an undeveloped world defeated the finest augments in the galaxy. He flexed his clawed hands, remembering the elegance of Ryan's movement. Perhaps there's more to learn from these humans than mockery. Across the Academy network, a message pulsed through encrypted channels. Subject: Combat Paradigm Revision Proposal. Author: Varncore, Senior Instructor. Title: Re-evaluation of Baseline Species Combat Methodologies, Human Earth Discipline. And at the bottom, one sentence. Recommend immediate study before humanity realizes what it truly possesses. The shockwave began quietly. No explosion. No declaration. Just a 13-second video clip shared across the Galactic Academy network, spreading like a digital wildfire through thousands of systems. At first it was disbelief, then analysis, then panic. The footage of a baseline human, unaugmented, unlinked, defeating a fully enhanced Othrak cadet, had reached the Galactic Combat Consortium within a standard day. From there, it jumped into public channels, where civilians, mercenaries, and even military tacticians dissected every frame. On the holofeeds, alien commentators debated in a dozen languages. The human's movement violates predictive combat logic. Their musculature isn't capable of that torque. He's cheating. The recording must be falsified. Impossible. He did it barehanded. Each species had its own explanation, each trying to deny what they'd seen. But the more they studied, the clearer the truth became. It had happened. In the orbital city of Kelver 9, where professional fighters gathered for the annual Galactic Martial Arts Summit, the video played on every holoscreen. Veteran champions, warriors who'd replaced half their bodies with steel, watched in silence as the human boy dismantled an opponent in 13 seconds of clean, precise efficiency. A Varnathi brawler slammed his fist through a console. No organic baseline can read movement that fast. A crystalline Thraxan responded quietly. Perhaps he didn't read it. Perhaps he felt it. Meanwhile, deep in the academy, Instructor Varncore faced the inevitable. The Council of Masters summoned him for inquiry. 12 alien elders sat around the glowing table, each one representing a species that had contributed to the development of the Galactic Combat Codex. Their voices blended in a chorus of authority. You permitted an unaugmented human into the advanced program? You allowed a duel that risked death? And now, the entire galaxy questions our superiority. Varncore kept his head bowed, but his voice remained calm. Permission was granted according to code. The duel was non-lethal. And the result? He looked up, eyes glinting. The result is data worth more than our pride. An elder hissed, crystalline facets shimmering. You wish to learn from this human? I wish to understand what we've forgotten, Varncore replied. The human didn't outmatch our technology, he revealed our dependency on it. Their martial discipline is organic. Ours is mechanical. The chamber fell silent. Across the academy, cadets whispered about the coming changes. Classes once filled with pride now trembled with doubt. The word, human, had shifted meaning overnight, from primitive to unpredictable. Some mocked him still. Others began imitating his footwork. Ryan Hale noticed. He didn't say much about it. He still arrived early to training. Still practiced alone after lights out. But now, when he moved through the corridors, alien cadets parted like water before him. He could feel the shift, the tension of eyes that once looked down now watching from below. That night, Kira, the Zethri cadet, found him again in the training bay. The lights were dim. The floor gleamed beneath the reflection of twin suns beyond the viewport. You've started a war, you know, she said softly. Ryan didn't stop moving. He was in the middle of a kata. Slow, deliberate, like a dance underwater. His breath matched every motion. Not my intention, he said. Every system is talking about it. The Othrak clans are demanding an explanation. The Council wants to rewrite combat doctrine. You broke something sacred. He paused, turning to face her. Then maybe it wasn't worth keeping sacred. Kira hesitated. You're not afraid? Ryan smiled faintly. Fear's normal. But humans learn to use it. Fear keeps us alive. Discipline keeps us from drowning in it. He returned to his stance, exhaling slowly. That's what a black belt means. It's not rank. It's proof you didn't quit. Kira watched him in silence, then quietly bowed before leaving the room. Elsewhere, in a secure military archive aboard Varnathi Command Station Theta, a group of officers gathered in darkness. The holoscreen projected the same duel. Dozens of tactical overlays floated beside it. Baseline humans outperforming augment soldiers, said one. Not outperforming, another corrected, outthinking. A third leaned forward, claws clicking against the console. If one human can do this, imagine what an entire unit of disciplined fighters could achieve. The room fell silent. Then the oldest officer spoke. Begin simulations. Study the human method. Replicate it if possible. Back at the academy, Varncore walked into the training bay where Ryan practiced. The sound of human breathing echoed through the vast chamber. Cadet Hale, he said. Ryan paused mid-motion, sweat glistening under the training lights. Instructor. Varncore studied him for a long moment before speaking. You have done something no one expected. You've shaken the foundation of galactic combat philosophy. Ryan tilted his head. Wasn't trying to. Perhaps not. But now every academy, every army, will seek to understand your technique. And many will seek to own it. Ryan nodded slowly. Knowledge spreads. That's how it should be. Varncore's expression hardened. Not all who seek knowledge do so to learn. Some will dissect it, to control it. And they will come for you. Ryan wiped his face with a towel and met the instructor's eyes. Then I'll teach them too. That answer silenced even Varncore. The reptilian instructor looked at the human for a long moment before giving a slow, deliberate nod. You truly believe that discipline can overcome technology? No, Ryan said quietly. I believe discipline creates technology. The problem is, most of you stopped practicing once you invented shortcuts. Varnkor's eyes gleamed. Perhaps it's time to remember the long road again. He turned toward the exit, tail flicking behind him. Tomorrow, Cadet Hale, you won't train alone. You'll teach. The first class of baseline combat doctrine begins at dawn. Ryan blinked, surprised. You're serious? Utterly. Then, as he reached the door, Varnkor glanced back, an odd tone in his voice. Respect, maybe even pride. 13 seconds changed the galaxy, human. Let's see what you can do with the next hour. Across the stars, in data streams and transmission relays, a phrase began circulating like a quiet mantra. The Earth discipline. Simple, efficient, and terrifying. The dawn bells of the Galactic Academy of Integrated Combat rang across orbit, echoing like deep metallic gongs. Usually, the training decks at that hour were silent, cadets recharging their augments, instructors reviewing tactical code. Not today. When the doors to Training Bay 07 opened, the crowd was already there. Hundreds of cadets, dozens of instructors, even a few officers from the Galactic Council, their insignias gleaming under the twin suns' light. They weren't there to fight. They were there to learn, from a human. Ryan Hale stood at the center of the arena, barefoot, his black GI soaked in morning light. He looked smaller than ever against the immense scale of the room, just one 17-year-old Earth boy surrounded by species evolved beyond flesh and bone. But the silence around him was absolute. Every movement, every breath carried weight. He bowed. Welcome to Baseline Combat Doctrine, he said simply. Or, if you prefer, the human way. A low murmur rippled through the audience. The idea of a human way of fighting sounded almost absurd. But they'd all seen the footage. They'd all replayed the 13 seconds. Ryan gestured for the crowd to circle closer. You've all been told humans are slow, fragile, limited. Maybe that's true. But limitations are where mastery begins. He paced slowly across the mat, speaking with the calm certainty of someone who'd spent his whole life chasing balance. Your augments make you fast, but speed without awareness is chaos. Your neural links make you precise, but precision without intention is empty. He raised a hand, forming a fist. A human has none of that. So we build something else instead. He relaxed the fist, hand open now. Discipline, focus, flow. A Varnathi cadet, scaled and broad-shouldered, stepped forward. Instructor Hale, he said, almost shyly, how can instinct compete with calculation? Our combat models predict movement 4 seconds ahead. Ryan nodded. They predict the body, not the will. He stepped closer, eyes steady. What happens when someone refuses to move the way they should? When they decide to lose balance to create an opening? Machines can't predict choice. He pointed to his chest. That's where humans fight, from choice, not programming. The Varnathi bowed his head slightly. Understood. The first demonstration began. Ryan faced 3 cadets. A crystalline Thraxan, a winged Aryan, and a cybernetic Varnathi. They surrounded him in silence. Use your augments, Ryan said. All of them. The audience stirred, whispering. The countdown sounded. 3, 2, 1. The trio moved in unison. Blinding speed, 4 arms, blades, wings. Ryan moved slower, smaller, but never where they expected. He flowed between strikes, redirecting energy, turning their momentum against them. The Aryan's wings clipped the Thraxan's arm. The Varnathi's claws struck empty air. Ryan's foot swept lightly, precise as a scalpel. 3 bodies hit the mat almost at once. 7 seconds. The room erupted in applause. Even the instructors couldn't deny it anymore. Ryan bowed. That's humanity's secret. We listen. We adapt. Every mistake is information. Every defeat is a teacher. You can't download that. Later, after the crowd had dispersed, Ryan stood beside Varnkor on the observation deck. The suns burned low across the curve of Threx Prime, painting the glass in amber light. For a long moment neither spoke. Below, cadets from dozens of species practiced the first human drills. Breath control, stance work, slowing down. It looked awkward at first, aliens built for speed trying to pause. Varnkor's voice was soft. They used to laugh at you, human. Now they mimic your movements. Ryan smiled faintly. Mockery's the first step to understanding. The instructor's tail flicked slowly. I underestimated your kind. I thought evolution favored augmentation. Ryan shook his head. It favors awareness. Everything else is decoration. Varnkor turned to him, eyes gleaming. Then perhaps it is time the galaxy remembered how to be aware. He extended one clawed hand. Ryan took it without hesitation. From this day forward, Varnkor said, the Earth discipline will be a core study at the Academy. Humanity will teach what technology forgot. Ryan bowed deeply. Then let's make sure we don't forget either. Weeks passed. The Academy transformed. The old training halls, once filled with energy blades and reflex simulators, now echoed with the sound of controlled breathing, the rhythm of real motion. Alien cadets trained alongside humans, learning to feel instead of calculate. They stumbled. They failed. They learned. Across the network, militaries adopted fragments of the doctrine, naming it adaptive flow combat theory. But those who studied under Ryan still called it by its real name, the human way. One evening, Kira approached Ryan after class. Her movements had changed, smoother, grounded, almost graceful. I still don't understand, she admitted. You knew that fight would make you famous. Why risk it? Ryan smiled, adjusting the black belt tied around his GI. Fame wasn't the point. Neither was victory. He looked out the viewport toward the twin suns. I just wanted to remind everyone what happens when you stop relying on shortcuts. When you earn every second. He turned to her. 13 seconds taught them a lesson. The rest of my life will teach them why. Far below the Academy, in the command spire, Varnkor composed his final report to the Council. The title read, Addendum, Human Martial Methodology, Proof of Concept. And the last line before he sealed the document read, Discipline is the highest technology. The camera drones recorded one final scene that day. Ryan Hale standing at the head of a class filled with 100 species, moving together in perfect unison. No augments, no implants, just breath, balance, and will. A human leading the galaxy, not through conquest but through example. As the sun set behind him, he spoke the closing words of his first official lesson. Martial arts isn't about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you were 13 seconds ago.